देखना अब हम कैसे एरिया वहाँ से
Our job is to hit the target, not to count the body bag.
That moment didn't just show India's growing military confidence. It revealed something deeper, a shift from dependence to dominance, from importing nearly all its arsenal to exporting advanced missiles to 100 countries. From the battlefield to the boardroom, India is rewriting the rules of power. This isn't just about nationalism, it's about economics, about how a country once dependent on others is now forging weapons that shape global strategy. India has transformed from an importer of firepower to a $17.3 billion defense manufacturing force that the world can no longer ignore. Let's start with the raw numbers because they tell an incredible story. Let's rewind. Year 2014 and 15. India's defense production value was about $6.3 billion. In 2024, that production value is approximately $18 billion, a 174% increase in just one decade. Even more striking is the shift from where these weapons came from. In 2014, about 70% of India's defense equipment was imported and only 30% was made in India. But by 2025, it's just the opposite. More than 60% is indigenous and the rest 40% is imported. India went from mostly buying to mostly building. And exports? This is where it gets explosive. In 2014 and 15, India exported only $230 million worth of defense goods. By 23-24, that jumped to $2.43 billion. And in 24-25, it reached $2.76 billion, a 12% increase over a year. Not only that, the reach expanded too, from 42 countries buying Indian arms in 2017 to 100 countries in 2025. That's not incremental growth. That's market disruption. The Indian government is targeting $6 billion of defense exports by 2029. Based on this current trajectory which Indian government is going, even $6 billion might be too conservative of a goal. So what's driving this transformation? Fundamentally, three economic factors. So the first factor which played an important role in bringing up India as a manufacturing hub of defense equipments as well as export is the cost of manufacturing. Take BrahMos as an example. Supersonic cruise missile, a joint India and Russia venture built in India. Each BrahMos costs around $3 to $4 million per missile. Now compare that with that America's equivalent, the US Tomahawk cruise missile that costs around $1.9 million per unit. Cheaper? Yes, but Tomahawk missile is a subsonic and far less capable. And the emerging US hypersonic missiles, those are projected at $35 to $40 million each, and they are still in the development stage. In effect, India is offering supersonic technology at near subsonic prices. That's a sweet spot for the many emerging militaries. Consider Akash surface-to-air missile system. One complete Akash battery, including launchers, radars, and control center, costs roughly $60 million. A comparable US Patriot battery costs around $1.5 billion, and the Russian S-400 system is round about $400 to $500 million for the Russia's domestic use. For the export customers, the price is significantly higher. For example, Turkey purchased 4 S-400 batteries for approximately $2.5 billion, and India signed a deal for the 5 units over $5.4 billion. Now, to put that into a perspective, take the example of the deal done by India with Armenia. The number is undisclosed, but experts say that it's approximately $750 million deal. In the same budget, Armenia, if they have opted for the US military system or the missile system or the Russian one, they might have got either some rockets and a launcher at the most. So, what's the take here? The take is that India's weapon delivers solid performance at a fraction of a cost. The other factor which played an important role is the involvement of the private sector. Now, private sector was involved in India's defense manufacturing since 2001. But what changed after 2014? The magic happened significantly in policy reforms, increased FDI limits, and strategic push to actively encourage and prioritize private companies, which led to the subsequent boom in the production and exports. Today, private companies contribute about 23% of the total output. Corporations have jumped in. Tata Advanced System is now a major player in aerospace industry. Bharat Forge is supplying and making critical components. Larsen & Toubro is building submarines and heavy artillery. This private sector boom has created direct manufacturing jobs and more in the supply chain. It has also localized about 4.2 billion worth of components that previously had to be imported. In short, opening of the industry unleashed a wave of innovation and cost savings. Now the third factor, strategic import substitution. In 2014, India spent roughly 5.2 billion on importing defense equipment. By 2024, that import bill fell to about $1.1 billion. Now, that's billions of dollars saved annually. Money now staying inside the country. Those billions are being reinvested in the domestic economy, with a multiplier effect estimated to around 2.5 times on GDP contribution. So, who's buying Indian weapons and what's driving them to choose India over long-established giants in this sector? You might be surprised if it's not just friendly neighbors or budget concerns buyers. Some of these deals are coming from the nations once firmly looked into the Western or Russian supply chains. So let's find out which are those countries. First and foremost is Southeast Asia. About $890 million in deals. Philippines alone accounts for $375 million of that for BrahMos missiles, plus an expected $200 million or more for Akash air defense system. Vietnam is adding BrahMos in their coastal defense batteries, and Indonesia is acquiring Indian naval system and radar tech. Middle East, around $520 million in deals. UAE is buying Indian ammunition and light weapons. Saudi Arabia is in talks to purchase India's air defense system. Africa, roughly $340 million in deals. Nigeria is obtaining Indian artillery system. Mozambique and multiple other nations are buying small arms and ammunition. These aren't isolated purchases, they are signals. India no longer just a convenient option. It's becoming a serious contender in the global stage. Why? Let's dive deep into this. It's time for a reality check. How does India actually stack up against the world's top arms exporters? In 2024, the global arms export market is dominated by United States, which accounted for 43% of the global's arms export. France has about 9.6%, Russia with a 7.8% share, and China has around 5.9%. India, still a small player, at roughly 0.8% of the market share, with a 2.76 billion in exports. But look at the growth rates. US exports grow around 2 to 3% per year. Russia's have declined 15%, hit by the sanctions. Now, India's defense exports, meanwhile, are climbing 12 to 15% annually. India is the fastest growing major arms exporter, and that momentum isn't just coincidental. The reason comes down to price and performance. Picture a matrix of cost and capability. First, high cost, high performance. That's US weapons. For example, an F-35 fighter jet or a Patriot air defense battery are top-notch tech, but also top-tier prices. Next, low cost, low performance. That's often the Chinese weapons. They are cheaper, but comes with quality concerns and geopolitical baggage. And then the mid-cost, high performance. That's where India is positioning itself. Good technology at a moderate price. The sweet spot where many countries get the most bang for their buck. So what's the value proposition in arms exporter? It comes down to few key advantages. First, technology transfer willingness. Unlike the US, which rarely shares its cutting-edge tech, or Russia, which is selective in what it transfers, India, on the other hand, is often willing to include co-production and tech transfer in deals. Buyers not only get the weapon, they get some know-how, a big draw for nations looking to build their own defense industries. Second, no geopolitical strings. US arms often comes packaged with political strings or alliance obligations. Like buying from America might require aligning with the US policies and can trigger sanctions like CAATSA if you buy from rivals. Chinese arms can come with concerns about debt traps or political influence. India, by contrast, offers weapons on straightforward commercial terms. No hidden strings, no big power entanglements. Third is the maintenance cost advantage. The upfront price is not the only part of the equation. Upkeep matters too. Over a 10-year lifespan, a US Patriot battery is expensive. For budget-conscious militaries, the cheaper long-term maintenance of the Indian gear is game changer. And last but not the least is supply chain reliability. India's geographic position and logistics means faster, more reliable delivery for many clients. For countries in Asia Pacific region, an order from India might arrive in 2 to 3 weeks versus 6 to 8 weeks from the US. Also, there is no risk of your supplier being hit by sanctions, a problem buyers of Russian arms faced in 2022. And by adding India as a supplier, countries can deliver or diversify their supply chains instead of being dependent on one source. So where is this headed next? Let's take a look at the data-driven projections. The Indian government's target is $6 billion of defense exports by 2029. At the current growth rate, around 12% annually, experts predict that India may hit roughly $4.9 billion by 2029. A bit short of the goal, but there are reasons to believe that $6 billion target is actually within reach or even on the lower side, thanks to several accelerators. Out of the several factors, 3 quiet forces are propelling India's defense rise faster than most expected. First, private industry surge. Once dominated by governments and the PSUs, India's defense sector is now driven by industrial giants expanding production, innovation at scale, and transforming the supply chain from inside out. Second, global demand boom. Across Africa and Southeast Asia, nations are modernizing their weapons, and more of them are turning to India, not just for affordability, but for trust and long-term partnerships. And lastly, the great realignment. As old alliances shift and global tensions rise, countries are rethinking where they buy their weapons. And India, with its no strings attached policy and proven reliability, is quickly becoming their preferred alternative. Together, these shifts point towards a future where India not only meets its goals but surpasses them, not as a challenger to superpowers, but as a builder of something different, a defense ecosystem that's practical, efficient, and open to collaboration. This momentum is reshaping India's economy, creating jobs, building infrastructure, reducing dependence on foreign imports, and fostering a new sense of self-reliance. India isn't racing to build the most advanced weapons on earth. Instead, it's mastering the tier that most countries need: affordable, reliable systems that can be deployed, maintained, and trusted in real-world combat. Now, I want to hear from you. Which country do you think will be India's next major global defense customer, and why? Drop your predictions in the comments. I am reading every single one. And if you found this analysis valuable, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.